First things first, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone that's watched the first two videos that we've put out. We covered some of the clones from the Geonosis ARC, and we had a look at the 501st collection with some of the customs that we have here. They were mostly the named ones. We didn't get a chance to have a look at the entire 501st collection, but that's one we'll do in another video. The support's been really good. I don't even have to consider it a success, just the fact that we're getting some of this stuff out there. That's successful enough for me. But today, back with another video. We're going to have a look at the ARC Troopers, which is the Advanced Reconnaissance Commando figures. There's actually been quite a lot of them produced. They've been produced over a variety of different shows and sagas and series, including the games such as Star Wars Battlefront 2. We've got a couple of those in box that we'll have a look at today. In the background, you can see our Star Wars The Clone Wars Hasbro ARC Troopers Battlepack, which included Rex, Fordo, Havoc, and Hammer. Not the ones that were the most popular, to be honest. They got pretty limited screen time, but the Hammer, which is the one in the up here, certainly got the least kind of attention. He's got the least designs on him. I think just a plain white helmet, which looks slick, I think. And he would have to be the hardest to get, I would think, nowadays. Certainly complete and in good condition. There's another battle pack which included a Rex, which again we didn't need. Fordo didn't even appear in the Clone Wars Hasbro stuff. It was a Tartakovsky figure. And then you've got Hammer and Havoc as well. So a bit of a mixed bag with that one. Also in the background, we've just got a vintage collection Blitz, a Colt, and a Havoc. We have got a couple more other vintage collection ARCs, and we'll bring in them later. But also, while we're here, we're going to have a look at the figures that were released from the Star Wars The Clone Wars. The first one that we'll bring in is, of course, the most populous one. He was on his own single card, and that is Colt. Now, he was really cool first up. He's got that skull on the helmet. As we have a look at him here quickly. Good color scheme. I like it. Works well. That matte grey sort of becoming blue and the maroon works really well. I'm sure we're all familiar, having watching the show, that he unfortunately falls victim to Asajj Ventress in the Defend Kamino episode. He's killed, unfortunately, impaled on the lightsaber, gets the peck of death. But he appears in, I think, 2 episodes, which is, the first one will be episode 5 of the first season. No, that's not the right one. There's a different one, the Clone Cadets training one. I'm not sure which one that appears in. But he is there, he helps train them. Limited screen time there. Gives the Domino Squad a little bit of a spray. And then appears later in the Defend Kamino, where he's unfortunately killed. He was released on his own card. We've got one here somewhere, in a box somewhere. I remember there was a Toys R Us near where I grew up. They had all their figure lines there. They had about 100 Yodas, 100 Anakins that were just boring as normal. And right above on the top shelf, I saw there was a box that had some stock. And inside was one of these. It obviously hadn't been scanned into stock at the store. I took it to the register. It didn't scan properly. I thought, oh no, I've been caught out here. They went and got the barcode and they gave it to me for $15. So I got my first Colt for $15. It's not this one. This one was a loose one that we got. He's got some, now that I have a look at it now, he's got some paint problems on the helmet. But everything else, pretty good. He's a cool figure. They obviously come with the movable antenna, the dual pistols at the bottom. They're a very nice figure. Nowadays, these guys individually, and we start with Colt, can cost anywhere between $50 to $100, depending on what country you come from. To get him on card, I would say I find a lot more of him on card than I do loose. I think people are a bit hesitant to take him out of the box, which is smart. That's called smart investing right there. Not the hardest one to get. Probably the easiest one of the ARC Troopers to get, I would say, at the moment, from the Star Wars Clone Wars Hasbro line. The next one, which I'll say is probably not too hard to find as well, is Blitz. He appears in only one battle pack, which is the Defend Kamino battle pack. That itself, not easy to get these days. It was quite common where I grew up. Again, I always tell this story about a toy store that no one ever went into except for me, and I just got everything that I wanted. But these came in the Defend Kamino battle pack, which is almost a grail piece in itself. Of course, comes with 5s and Echo and Blitz himself. Survivor of the Battle of Kamino. He survives. Gets limited time, gives a few instructions, that's about it. He's got a beautiful diamond checkered, I'm not sure what the word is for it. I'll say dress, but obviously it's not a dress. He's also got the dual pistols, some nice armor design. The yellow really works. You would look at it from a distance and think, I don't know if all yellow and white and a bit of grey is really going to work. And then when it was portrayed on the show, you went, yep, that absolutely works. There's no yellow, again, on the dress there. I think it's called a katana, actually, or similar. And that just works. The whole figure just works. Quite expensive to get nowadays as well, unfortunately. He's looking at, I mean, you could look anywhere between 100 to 150 to get him with all these figures, with all these pieces in good condition. The battle pack itself, however, is a much different kettle of fish. We'll have a look at him in comparison to his boxed figure. It did pretty well. Kept it pretty close. Sorry for the glare. As you can see, the live action figure is molded off the Hasbro picture here, and they've since had to recreate him here using him more real life. They got it right, I believe. Fantastic figure. Unfortunately, this one's never going to see the air. It's too valuable to be kept in box there. But you can only imagine the price of a Blitz if he was sold on a single card back in the Clone Wars. It would have been astronomical, particularly nowadays. Put him up here next to Colt. The Colt comparison with his boxed one, very similar. I actually think it's a lot better here, because that's the only helmet we're used to. The helmet and the one back here is a little bit more unrealistic. Now there's another one that we mentioned before who did not appear in the Clone Wars TV series but was in the Tartakovsky, and that was, he's referred to as Commander, but he's known as Fordo. He doesn't get a ARC Trooper helmet at all. He keeps the Phase 1 generic helmet. But it's important to know that all their helmets are considered Phase 1, even though they look more like the Phase 2, particularly with the visors and the breathing apparatus at the bottom of the helmet here. These are all Phase 1, these figures back here. And that helmet was what is in canon based on creating the Phase 2. But we have a look at Fordo here. I've got all his pieces. His short arm pistol in the pocket there. His long arm rifle, which is definitely not designed for the figures themselves, particularly their hands, because it just does not work. He's got some ammo pouches on the chest. He's got another pistol in there. Not sure where I've pulled that from. Actually, I believe he comes with two. We have a look at the back. There's no kind of backpack to put on him. Doesn't need one. So he's part of the Munilist 10. He appears with those 10 clone troopers that attack I think it's a droid cannon on Munilist, or Munilist, however it's pronounced. So he's part of that group of 10. All the other arcs that we're going to look at today, being Colt, Blitz, Havoc, and Hammer, are all part of the Rancor Battalion. So these guys, being ARC Troopers, are not all from the same unit, and they do not all appear together. So he's the odd one out there. Nice color design, bright red. He's a lovely figure there. He can be pricey depending on what condition he's in, and if he comes with all of his accessories. You can get him for anywhere between $30 to $100. Just depends on, sometimes he comes without the gun or without the shoulder pad or without the wrist gauntlet here, and you can get him for a lot cheaper and find those pieces elsewhere. Fordo, I wouldn't say is the most in demand, particularly in this version. There is a TVC version of him which is significantly more popular, comes with the alternate helmet. Is probably the one that I would consider chasing rather than this one. But he is the first that we're going to look at that comes in the battle pack at the back here. Retains his value from that battle pack. He's hard to come across because people don't want to open that battle pack. So if there are loose ones, when they're up for auction, that's when they go for high sale. When they're just a buy it now, generally they're missing pieces. But one to pick up, but I would look for that TVC one first. That one holds the most value. We unfortunately don't have one here. That's one of the ones that we haven't been able to come across in a long time. One that we're still trying to add to the collection. but unfortunately, I just haven't seen one in good nick for a long time. We want to get one as close as possible to being in almost perfect condition, and unfortunately every single one that I've found's got a crease. We've got about 3 of the ARC Trooper Battlepacks at the back here. The one we've put on display is the one that's not in its little custom case that we had made. And we've got about 2 or 3 each of the Havoc, Colt, and Blitz. And in speaking of Havoc, we'll bring him in now. Probably got the best attention out of the battle pack. The most details. Whereas with the others, we're seeing blocks of colours, stripes, diamonds, got a lot of attention there. Shin pads on Colt. But Havoc did not get the same attention there. He did not get the enlarged wrists as the others did. Did not get the shin pads as the others did. Got a basic katana design. However, more attention on the helmet, I think. We've obviously got the squares on the chest, the double shoulder pad with ammunition clips, smaller designs on the arms and helmets, so a bit more attention required there. Simple, slick, keeps a menacing presence. He appears in the Defend Kamino episode. He instructs, I believe it's Fives and Echo, to go and knock off a few droids, defend some area. That's about as much screen time as he gets. He survives the battle. Oh, sorry, he dies, unfortunately. I'm thinking of Hammer. He cops one to the shoulder, and then another one to the head, which is unfortunately the kill shot for him. And that's the end of Havoc. The most common one to get, I've found. The most common ARC Trooper to find. Everyone's selling their Havoc. I don't know why. I think he's the best one. Looks the most beautiful, to be honest. But you can find him anywhere between $50 to $80, particularly on eBay. But I find him loose the most out of all of them, I believe. The easiest one to target. If you're looking at starting your collection, he's the one to start with, because you'll get him the easiest. The one that I find is the hardest to come across, the last of all, is Hammer. As I was saying before, the slick helmet design. Kept it simple, basic, white. He did get the thicker wrist guards. He got the chrome, silver, and red, which I think works perfectly. Katana, simple design. Backpack there. He's the only figure I know that certainly has the chrome silver. The white helmet, I just think it works. It just looks really good. Hardest to come across. Certainly don't find many of them. Put him up there with his friends. So that's the 5. That's the big 5 in terms of the ARC Troopers. Not very common to get all 5 of them together. We're looking at about, for the whole 5 right here, we'll be generous and just say $500 to get all 5. That's probably a cheap way. It's not including any postage and so on, and definitely time and effort to find them. The battle pack, which we've got in the back here, we'll bring forward so you can see. Out of the way, guys. That's the battle pack in the background there. That's going to cost you anywhere between $500 to $1,000, certainly here in Australia. But we're also very lucky in that we've got the Defend Kamino battle pack. We've got that in case. I'll bring that in here. That's one of a couple that we have. And that's where we get the Fives, Echo, and the Blitz. You'd be pushing your luck trying to get a few of those now. They're not cheap either, about $300. We've also come prepared today with a few of the other ARCs which appear in the later additions to Star Wars, most notably the games. If we come to the side here, we've got the Umbara ARC figure. Well, the Umbara ARC Trooper from Star Wars Battlefront 2 was a later addition to it. Good opportunity. They took the opportunity to make it. I've never held one in my hand outside of the packet. I just think it's too slick and beautiful to take out. We'll have a look at another one that they've created. These will rapidly get closer. The Lambent Seeker from Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Not quite as, to use the term, hectic. Simple design. The lime green, something that hadn't been introduced. Works quite well with the grey. and then the basic ARC Trooper that first appeared in Battlefront 2, which of course has that really unique helmet design there. Here's another one that looks very similar to Hammer, which when I first saw it, I thought, oh, okay, that's what they're going to do. They're going to make that Hammer and then retcon him and change it and so on, or say that his Phase 1, which of course was the Clone Wars one, has then turned into this because the color scheme is the same. We've got a grey, potentially silver, with a maroni/red. But in this, you can see that he's just grey and not silver. I'm sure it looks reflective in the game, but the helmet design is the big difference. However, I think this looks way sexier. So that's the ARC Troopers that we're going to have a look at today. I know there's others, being Fives, Echo, and Jesse, but we've all seen the battle packs for that. Most people have got them in their collection. You'd be doing well to get the 3-figure 501st pack. Not a lot of those getting around too much, particularly in great condition. We've got one that is pretty much untouched and went straight out of the packet, like as in the postage that it came in, straight into a large custom box for the size of it. So if I had that graded, I'd be looking at easily a 9.5 to 10. We did it with gloves, so it's never even had a hand or a fingerprint on it. The other ones that we have, there's obviously a TVC 5s, Echo, and Jesse. We've got all those here. They're up with the 501st collection. We're not going to bring it over here now. The next episode, we're thinking of doing the 41st Elite Corps, possibly the 212th. We've got a lot of figures there. We're looking at maybe some top 10 rarest figures, which I believe we've got most of them except for that Kashyyyk comic pack. But I think the next video, that's where we might start. We might do the top 10 rarest. That'll include the ARC Trooper Battlepack here. And we'll see what else we can pull out from the collection. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys see the 5 that you need to get to have the main ARC Troopers, as well as the Battle Pack. And I hope this inspires you to start your collection. You need a budget of at least $500 to get all 5 of them, and probably $1,500 to get the ARC Trooper Battle Pack in the back as well with this 5. So happy hunting. I wish you the best of luck. Look forward to seeing you at the next video.